Okay.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's October 29th, 2 p.m. I am really looking forward to this podcast because I have two outstanding women to tell amazing stories. And one of the things I thought of after I had posted the title as Crisis, I thought that maybe we could also title this as Rising from the Ashes, because both of these women have done this numerous times in their life. And I got inspired the other day when I called RoseMarie. How do I pronounce your second name? Boccia, is it? RoseMarie? We dropped her. Oh, that's too bad. I'm going to have to do this again. RoseMarie lives way up in the woods in Maine. And so we're going to have a little problem, I think, sometimes with her reception. In the meantime, Rebecca's here. So, Rebecca, help me fill some. Well, first of all, let me give you your introduction. We've done it.
I love your title.
We know each other for a million years, so I'll just tell the listeners that, I met you when I was taking Silver Mind Control, and that has to be about 16 years ago. Can you believe it?
I can't believe that. That's amazing. We've been in touch ever since. Yeah, I started teaching that in 2004, and it's a powerful program if you want to shift your thought.
Well, again, through so many of our conversations, we talk about the fact that we seem to find each other. I think one of the things we touched on recently is the golden thread for life, where you run into people that you never imagined you would be close with, and they show up, and you start to share this amazing journey with. So that's us.
That's right. Yeah.
And I've got trying to reconnect again with RoseMarie.
Hello, we're back.
There we go. We're back. Okay, so I've loaded Rebecca into with just a brief introduction, and I'm going to just talk about how our connection, RoseMarie, came through the fact that when Paul Elwell met you on one of the cruise ships, and he met you, Victoria, Toby, and you guys had a good relationship, and he
Savannah, yeah.
And so that's been, that must be about 8 years ago or something?
Oh, my goodness. That was 2009.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. It's been even more than that. Yeah, even longer.
Let me improvise an introduction for you. Your story is absolutely amazing because of your selfless, and we can talk about Victoria and how you came upon this beautiful soul, your child, and with her disability, and you have absolutely dedicated 1,000% of your time to her and brought her along in an amazing way. She's how old now?
She is 18. She turned 18 in May.
Gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So,
well,
just to kind of bring this together, two selfless, wonderful women who have really tapped into what it takes to be at peace and to actualize in ways that most people would love to be able to say they've done. And RoseMarie, the reason I wanted to do this one is, and I told Rebecca about this, I called her immediately after our phone call the other day. We hadn't talked in almost, 2 years?
It's been about 2 years. We've been back and forth every now and then, but connecting as much as we used to. It's been on and off. Yeah, it's been about 2 years since we really connected, I think.
Well, rather than tell you where we left off, and I explained this to Rebecca, 2 years ago you were in a rough place.
I was. If I remember correctly, I know that back when we're in a house, we're renting right now, but when we first moved in, my daughter had just come out of PICU. She was hooked up for well over 24 hours, and we almost lost her. This was due to a virus, influenza virus. And she come out of that. She fought that hard. Well, we moved in here right around the same time. I found out that I had a tumor. I have a small tumor on my parotid. They say it's first they said parotid, then they said pituitary, but it's near my salivatory gland. They said it was too close to an artery to do any biopsy, so they said even if it is cancerous, there was nothing they could do as a biopsy. So I was hit. It's kind of like a ton of bricks falling on you, and as well as some other, health issues I was dealing with, and then, financial issues. And back when I think about it, I think my self-confidence was lacking strongly then. So that made it even worse. So I was digging myself a hole, even though I didn't know I was, and it was just getting darker and darker for me.
It was interesting.
So that was then.
Rebecca mentioned this the other day, that at that time I knew that you were in dire straits and felt that some kind of spiritual healing might be the answer. And so you guys know each other from some shows we've done before, but also from the fact that you were open to get the spiritual healing. But for some reason, you guys didn't connect. And
right,
connected, I think, yeah.
We might have had one conversation ultimately, but it was kind of hard to connect. It was kind of interesting, yeah. But
great. Where I am right now, I have my phone in one spot. The signal where I am, I'm kind of in a bit of a dip. I'm in a bit of a, you could call it, tiny little valley here, and it wavers. But where I am at the moment, in the house, I could move from one section to the other and I'd lose you. So I'm in one spot. I'm comfortable, fine, but I have to keep my phone at a certain angle to the side. Kind of silly, but that's just the way it works. But I think that was why we were dealing with a lot. I was dealing with a lot more phone issues even then. So everything was topsy-turvy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
well, that's great to hear. Things are starting to turn and you've overcome so much. That's fabulous.
Yes. I mean, in all honesty, I still have the tumor. It's been checked. It doesn't look like it's grown that much. My husband and I even both lately have started even a more healthier regimen, take a lot of vitamins, just started a new, like a type of drink, a type of health drink that's packed with all kinds of natural things, all kinds of nutrients, and try to keep busy, try to keep moving, because the more sedentary you become, the worse it gets. I mean, the stiffer you get, the more, I think, even more depressed you get, the more sedentary you become. So we try to keep moving at all times, and that's made a big difference too. I started a cleaning. I call it's more like a cleaning sanitization business, because we don't just go and clean. We have other equipment we use. I started that last year, and I noticed that the more I got up, and I will say a lot of people may not agree. I love to work. I love it. To me, getting out and working, because I'm at home with Victoria, and I'll put it this way, she gets frustrated with me because I'm in her face all the time. It's constant this, constant that, and sometimes she'll scream at me like, Mom, I've had enough. So if I get a chance even to get out of the house and work, when I get home, she's in even better spirits because Mom's not in her face all day. My husband stays home and he takes care of her, but when it comes to them, they have a different relationship where, he takes care of her needs. She has her meals, and he makes sure that, everything gets done, the whole 9 yards. But I'm more in her face. I'm more talking to her. I'm more, trying to get conversation going with her. And she's just more like, she's 18, so she's got the attitude. So her hand's up saying, Mom, it's enough. So I've noticed that actually helps quite a bit. And even with any health issues I've had, I think I got it from my mother. She was I called her the Energizer Bunny, because she was nonstop. And even if she was in pain, even if she had issues going on, you never knew it. And that's something I learned. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not guilty of complaining at times. I am. But I turn around, I take a look at my daughter, and I say, I don't have much to complain about. I really don't. I don't feel,
Yeah, I'm all about spiritual healing. And I've had many, many instantaneous healings in my life by shifting my thought into the higher realms where the Christ consciousness is. And I've seen amazing things happen. My philosophy is there's always a solution, and perfect health is our birthright.
That's
but sometimes we just have to work to get ourselves in that place where we can claim it again. Sometimes it slips away for a while, and then we have to, like you say, re-energize yourself.
It does. I try to meditate every morning, and if I miss a day or miss 2 days, I actually feel it. I feel the difference. And I mean, people can laugh, they can scoff at meditation. I mean, personally for me, it works. And I pray every day, and I not only pray, but I thank, and I say even the smallest things. I mean, some people, may think, oh, that's silly to pray about, but no, even the tiniest things. When I look back, and here's something that I bet is going to get a good laugh. I look back 5 years ago. Let's give it 5 years. They say every 5 years there's changes. I didn't even have my own washer dryer 5 years ago. And I know it's going to sound silly, but I now own one. Yeah, I own my own. And people are like, oh, yeah, what's the big deal with that? Well, 5 years ago, I didn't even own it. I didn't even have it. And and to tell you the truth, we were renting furniture. We were renting even a bed at one point. So to look back at that and say, now I own the things I have. Now even the vehicle we have, it's just, I just recently purchased a small storage shed for my husband to start putting things in. Wasn't expensive. It wasn't the cost. It was the fact that I could do it and say, I could look at it, even something like that, and go, despite the fact that material things, they say material is not the most important, and it isn't. But to think back 5 years ago, I could not have done that. And now, when I say, well, when we need something, it's not a want, it's a need. When we need something and you're able to obtain it, that it's a huge change. It's actually made me emotional, where I've thanked God, and I've said, thank you for, because I've actually put it in his hands. I got to the point I put it in his hands, especially after I found out about the tumor and everything. I said, I'm going to put it all in your hands. It's up to you now. This is it. And I noticed that I just had to be patient. And before I knew it, things just started coming to us, last winter we hit a spot, a tough spot, and we were thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to have to leave, we're going to have to move, we're not going to be able to pay the rent. Well, it wasn't even a matter of days later. With this, like we say, we're talking about this crisis, talking about COVID and everything else. It's a crisis. It's terrible, but I'm always trying to look at the positive. I'm always saying, where is the light in this? Where can I find any light in this at all? And I said, well, all of a sudden, we got a flow, because I had to put in for unemployment. No one was going to be having anybody come in and clean their house. I mean, they were scared to death of anybody walking in. So I started getting this unemployment. Before I know it, here's the rent. I could hand the rent to just like that. I was able to give it to the landlord. And that's when I said, and I was teaching myself again to just let go and just say, I cannot control everything. And I'd fallen into that pit at one point, and that's when I noticed things just went awry. They really did. And then I said, no, I got to let go. I've got to put it into, bigger hands here. Focus on, my main focus on what I'm doing, what's in front of me, put my strength in that. And then before I knew it, things just started to flow, and I was able to breathe again, put it that way.
Nice. it's all about just allowing it to happen and having enough faith that you know you're going to have the solution. You don't know how it's going to come, but it will show up. It can do anything.
Yes, very much. Another thing, I'm say probably Tom's probably wondering, what's the big change here? Another thing was, and maybe a little off subject on the spiritual, but actually there's a touch here that's not. My family and I, we don't go to church. We don't have a church that we go to. We have a totally different place we go to. It was over 3 years ago, I became a member of a local motorcycle club chapter. I didn't even own a motorcycle when I was asked by the president if I wished to join, because I had a few people, dear friends of mine, that were already a part of it, that had been, mentioning me and mentioning my daughter and everything else. And the fact that this club puts their all into Make-A-Wish, and we're a Make-A-Wish family. So I said, well, let me check it out. I did. I went to at least 2 or 3 of the Make-A-Wish benefit rides and the benefits they had. They have, other things going on as well. And I was really impressed. And I said, I'd love to be a part of this. I'd love to help. So we became a part of that. And I noticed just being a part of that alone, and the people that I've gotten to know, that become like family, I noticed a big change in myself. I noticed, Tom said, being selfless, and it just makes you even more so, because you just want to keep helping. You want to keep doing. And, we've gotten a lot of benefits, not only Make-A-Wish, there's a lot of other benefits we've done. And I've noticed a big change in myself since I become a part of that. And it's just, and that's the part about, getting to know new people is another thing here. I was telling Tom that I've known people for well over 25 years that I don't even speak to anymore, that I thought would be there. You say, best friend till the end, I've known you forever. So best friend. No, it doesn't always work. And it's very painful. It's very crushing, but you get over it. And you start to realize that when you look back and you see that a lot of the time these people are actually more of a barrier in your life than they were cheering you on. So That's another thing I mentioned, I think, when we were having our conversation, is about when you say spirituality, the energies that people are putting off. You don't see it. You don't see it when you're in the middle of it. You only see it when you step out of that box. So I saw that I actually have saved myself and my family. So, yeah.
When you mentioned this, first of all, I could just say, Rebecca, we did do some podcasts before, I think, with Rebecca. And, just knowing it, I'm sitting here with the biggest smile. And Rosemary, I'm just playing off your energy. I mean, it's just so positive. It's so light. It's so free. And this is why I wanted to have this podcast, because it's an absolute transformation. Rebecca, you want to make any comments on it?
Well, I think it's fabulous. I mean, you sound like you've had an amazing, epiphany about how you can solve problems in your life and spiritualize your thought to the point where you trust that everything's going to turn out in a positive way, and you're getting the evidence. And I love the way talking about, you've learning that the more you give through something like Make-A-Wish, that gets you even more in the flow, because
it does.
If we want to see, we have to give. Right?
And when you mention that, it brings me back to this. I remember talking to another friend of mine about it, because here's an example. I was either at a meeting or I'd done some. I had my vest on, and in this right here, I don't know, maybe you and Tom will see the same thing I'm seeing as well, is that I was in a Walmart, and I went up to the checkout, and there was a woman standing behind me putting her items up, and I only had a few things. And the cashier, he was a young man, very young man, looked at my vest, and he went, "Oh, you're a biker." And I just looked at him, and I kind of nodded a little bit, I said, "Yeah." He goes, well, you're in a beggar gang. I said, no, correction. I said, I'm in a club. I said, this is totally, no. I said, and he said, well, and he said, well, I saw your patches. And the thing is that if you take a look at these patches, they literally show firefighter, emblems and such, because this is what this club is. It's a bunch of firefighters, EMTs, even, retired military and so on. And they're always out helping people, constantly saving lives. And, the woman behind me was giving me a look, and you could laugh at this, like she had a sour pickle in her mouth. I mean, the most nastiest look. She didn't take the time to even notice, it's like she was just not even under the surface, just the bare surface of what was on my vest, not even taking the time to read it, to see what it was all about, or even to ask me about it. And that's, I think, what the same thing people do with just anyone. They just see that outer layer. They don't take the time. And there's a lot of people doing it today, even more so. And it's a very shallow thing. Everybody, there's such a shallowness that it's, to me, being, empathic, very empathic, it's nauseating. I can't wrap my head around it, to put it that way. So that there's an example of how, this woman was giving me looks, this young man, he was automatically thought I was something out of Sons of Anarchy, which, I wasn't here. And that's the thing, is that people, they automatically assume that, we have families, we have children, we are caring, we give to the community, and give very selflessly and generously. In fact, they'll pull right over. They see somebody on the side of the road, they'll pull right over and help. Are you okay? Are you fine? What can we do to help you? Now, do you see just about everyone doing that? Do you see cars pulling over in lines up the road to help someone? No. But we were out on a ride, and the whole entire line pulled over onto the side of the road to make sure that car was okay. Nice. It's a different world, and I have to say that I've been in, and I'm humbled, but I'm also proud of it too. So
sounds very
kind of keeping that balance.
I sensed the other day, the thing that triggered this, as you said, and you just touched on it, the fact that you all of a sudden decided that these people who were a drain on you, one of my friends had a great expression all the time. He says, I want to be around people who charge my batteries, not drain them.
Yes.
And you said once you made, Matthew McConaughey recently did a little blurb, inspirational 5 minutes or so, and that was one of the first things he said was that if you look at the 5 people closest to you, the people that you interact with most every single day, you will see yourself. And I thought
that's right.
That that is just so true, and if people ever stop doing that. But what impressed me about was when you said you, as painful as it was, you had to let those people go. You felt and experienced things immediately change. So you want to talk about that?
They did. And how they changed. That was the thing. I was taking more time, putting my energy, I was being drained, like you said. And once I stepped back, once I closed that door, and that's the thing, that's the hardest thing to do, is to shut the door, lock it behind you. Better yet, light a match, burn it, and then keep moving on. Another thing I also think about a lot is that a lot of people say, well, you got to go down a certain path where you're going to get a fork in the road and you're going to be confused. Or I will get back to that subject, but this is part of it as well. I pave my own path. I've told many people that. I've said, I just start paving my own path. I start, chipping away and chopping away so that it's mine. And that was something that when I was around these people, I didn't do. I was focusing more on them, putting my energy into them, trying to help them improve their lives, so that my life was just staying in one sedentary it kept collecting dust. And once I got rid of that, I was able to shake that dust off and say, okay, time for me to move on, time for me to pave this path, go forward, see where it takes me, see where I take myself, along with it. And one thing that I remember you always saying is that I climb a mountain every day, and that mountain's been extremely steep at times, is during this path that I've been paving every single day, you got to stop. And even if you stop for an entire day or stop for even an hour and take in everything around you and really take in the scenic quality, if say you're hiking a mountain, if you don't stop and look around, what's the sense? What's the sense of even hiking it? What's the sense of trying to reach when you're trying to reach the top, you should stop every now and then. Really take a look around and really see what's around you and see, okay, well, yeah, because I got a huge tree up ahead there. Well, I got a huge rock over there. Well, let me see. If I take a left to go, you may have an even clearer path than the one you thought, if you just keep looking right down at the ground in front of you. So if I'm not making sense, please let me know.
No, you're making, Rebecca, you've read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Right. And
that's right.
And that's really you've got to savor everything in life in order to really be present and experience it. Otherwise, you're missing the whole point of being here.
Exactly.
And what you just described, it's ironic that you're talking about motorcycles, etc. In that book, one of the things I came away with that's permanent all the time, he said, when you're climbing a mountain, it's not the top that you should focus on. It's this rock,
that's right.
It's this tree, it's this river, and that's what makes, and one of my, although she's controversial as all get, Iris's song, it's not the mountain, it's the climb. And
that's right.
So bravo to you for seeing that, because I think so much of what people are trying to do these days is they try to focus on the ends. So if you meditate and you visualize, you'll get this thing, or if you take these steps, you will get your goal. You will get and what we're here. What I think both Rebecca and I have discovered, and what you've just done revealed, is that things will happen that you never imagined.
That's right. Yeah. Another thing is, I used to get up in the morning. The first thing I did was always just get on Facebook and scroll through and all. And I will do that once in a while. I always check out the Rett Syndrome World. I'll check out and see if anything's posted on our club page and stuff like that. But one of the first things I do actually is I get on my email and I check to see what the real estate's doing, because for the first time in my life, I can actually do that. I worked on my credit score for a long time now, and it's gotten really good. We've been saving a lot of money, and I'm looking for either land or even a place that has, a home already established. And I've found about, I want to say 3 different places already that I've looked into. But it's a one day at a time thing, and I have to keep myself in the present, like you're saying, keep yourself, grounded in the present now. Because if I don't, then that's going to slip away from me as well. And it's something that, I want to do, because to tell you the truth, our dream, our ultimate thing is to homestead. I mean, some people may say, well, you don't want to. Why not? Why don't you move to Florida? Why don't you do this or that? Oh, no. With the way things are going right now, that to us, that seems to be the most practical thing to do. If I can get up in the morning and I can just simply go out to my greenhouse to pick the vegetables that I'm going to cook that night and not have to go to a store and collect the eggs from my chicken coop and to bake with, cook with, say, that right there is pure gold to me. I mean, we started our little gardens here. We've talked about having chickens. My daughter has chickens with her boyfriend. They just brought over a dozen for us. And because I remember her saying that I was always kind of I'm her mother. She's supposed to, look up and I'm supposed to be a good, figure. That's what she did. She decided, Mom, I'm going to garden this summer and I'm going to raise chickens. That's what she did. So now her and her boyfriend can simply go out to the coop, get their eggs they need, go in and get their vegetables. They brought us, they harvested a whole bunch and brought it to us, just a few months ago, a month or so ago. And that's what my main focus is, my main goal. That way I can sit on my homestead. I can write. I can paint. I can do all the art that, I've been doing. I can go out and work, get up in the morning and go out and take care of any livestock. Colby and I both can. And that's what we want to do. I mean, if people want to laugh at it, then all the power to them. That's fine. They can laugh at it, but it's okay. It's my life, not theirs. So, that's been another focus of mine.
Rosemary, again, if I was having so much fun with all of this because, again, I was shocked, pleasantly shocked and awakened the other day when, first of all, when I called you and I got your answering machine and I heard that you had a cleaning business. And I guess I just want to, make the listener understand. You were, it was very difficult to talk to you 2 years ago because it was almost at the point of despair. This is, finance weren't there, your health wasn't there, the problems you had with Victoria were overburdening, and it was like and to hear this, like I say, I think we could have called this rising from the ashes. The fact that you now have money, the fact that you're looking for a home, the fact that you're, you see this beautiful future for yourself, and you do it with conviction. What do you think, Rebecca?
I think it sounds fantastic. I love your vision. To if you've got the energy and everything else to put together a situation like you're describing, it sounds like heaven on earth. That's the way to live.
It does. It really does, because and it's freedom too. And that's the thing. That's the biggest deal right now is where we're back to fighting. Where Tom and I were talking about it. The way things have been going, and to think that if you can be self-sustaining, which my husband and I are to an extent now. My mother taught me a lot. She taught me how to improvise. She taught me how to. I make my own vanilla extract. I make my own brown sugar. I can make laundry detergent, dish detergent, all that stuff myself if I need to. Even household cleaning. I don't know if you hear Victoria in the background. She's starting to. I'm in another room, but she's out there. She's having a conversation, so you might hear her every now and then through my mic. But I learned how to do this growing up. And another thing Colby and I have studied is natural healing. Going out and foraging, and we have the books, and we've been studying that. What can we find that God's put on this earth for us that can heal us, feed us, help clean the house, the whole 9 yards. And that's another thing that we've studied.
Sounds like you're ready to homestead.
I'm more than ready, but I know it's going to take a little time. It's going to take a little time, and we've started here where we are right now. So we harvested tomatoes this summer. We harvested garlic. Peppers. Let's see, what else did we do? I had a bunch of flowers growing as well, but I also a bunch of herbs. I had a whole herb garden going. Tried to grow watermelon. That didn't go too well, but there's always going to be a fail, and that just means that you can just try again. So.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just chuckling. And I took a few courses in an MBA program, and Harvard is famous for their case study. What's so refreshing about you right now, Rosemary, is you're just telling and sharing with the world at a time when I think they really need it, when too many people are falling in despair. And Rebecca and I talk about this every single day. You've you unlocked secrets that have, again, when I called Rebecca immediately. I said, I can't believe this is the same person. The energy level, the language, the visions, the actions. If I could wish anything for the world, is that for everyone to have the transformation that you had. And this is a great story. Rebecca, you want to comment?
Well, yeah, because it's very empowering for these people that are living in despair right now, feeling hopeless. They need to hear stories from people like RoseMarie that have figured out how to hold a vision and believe that it will manifest. You're going to be living like that ultimately because you're figuring out how to do it, and it has to happen.
It does. It really does. And
it's not out of the realm of your possibility.
We can hear story right now because I have to remind the listener that you have a 24/7, 365, year after year total need for somebody needs your attention to survive. And you've done what you've done, this rising from the ashes. You didn't just do this by picking yourself up and doing it. You still have all of those chores, that energy, that attention that has to be given, and you did it in spite of that.
Yes, and the thing is when you mention, Victoria, and some people may say, you got a lot on your plate, but that's heavy. And the thing is she's not. She's the one that has me lifting myself up. It's like she's lifting me, even though she can't get out of her chair. She's bound to a wheelchair. She cannot even use her hands. She's nonverbal. She can't even really fully say a sentence or even many words, but she does it. And I almost lost. In the lifetime. She's 18, but I've almost lost her 3 times. The first time she was about 4 years old, and now I think 3 or 4, and she had contacted salmonella through one of these store-bought meals. I used to pick up these little meals for her. She loved them, and one of them happened to have some chicken in it that they traced it back. They tracked it back when she was in the ICU. They found out that that's where it came from. She bounced out of that. She kicked its butt. She really did. The second time was failure to thrive. We doing everything under the sun for her, and her body just would not absorb. So she was hospitalized for an entire month. She was in the children's intensive care and critical unit for a few weeks, and then she was put in to the intensive care for the other rest of the month. And we pretty much lived in the hospital, and she came out of that. And then, just like I said, 2 years ago, she went. We took her to the doctor's appointment. She had a checkup. Her doctor was sick. Her doctor was wearing a mask, mind you, at the time too. And this is, I won't go any further into it because we're on a very upbeat level now. I don't want to get into this, but she actually contacted a influenza A from her, and that with girls with Rett, anything respiratory, anything like that can very easily be fatal. But we got her to the hospital. I remember it was like 2:00 in the morning. I got up and I checked on her, and she just wasn't breathing right. She didn't sound good. So we got her to the ER right away, and they took some tests. They said, we'll get a hold of you as soon as possible, and they did. And they told me it was influenza A. Well, the moment I heard that, we packed everything up again. We headed up to a medical center in Penobscot County, and she was automatically put into the ICU. And they started to give her, it was Tamiflu. They started giving her the medication. And they said to me, if they had not started, it was like we had gotten her there just in the nick of time. And if they had not started that, I would have lost her. And when she come out of that, this girl was just tenfold, just strong as ever. And that's where I get it from. That's where I see her I see what she's dealt with over the years. I see how strongly and how courageously she has, dealt with it. I mean, scoliosis, she's back and forth with the x-rays. In fact, she was due to have surgery. We took her down to Portland, city in Maine here, and they had her, the specialist, the surgeon, had her out on the table, getting her x-ray. And he walks up to me and he says, they've been doing this all wrong all along. Her numbers, because the higher the number, the worse it is, had dropped. Over 20 some of our numbers had dropped. And I looked at him and I said, so there's no need for any there's no emergency right now. He goes, oh, no, not at all. I said, so none of her vital organs are being affected? He said, no. And I said, well, what is it how is it going to improve her life? Is it something that is, drastic? Excuse me. And he said, no, it'll just make her sit up a little higher in her chair. Well, we had been taking her to a special therapist for about a year. And this man's amazing. And we took her there, and he straightened her back some, and he's helped her legs as well. Well, we've got her back in that therapy again. And we're, fingers crossed, praying every day, saying, when she has sessions at least, I want to say 3 or 4 times a month. And we noticed just in her first therapy session alone, there was a tremendous change, even in her hips, her mood, her sleeping, everything. So to keep up on that, it's just like you say, it's a day in, day out thing. But the one thing about Rett syndrome, and it can be a very emotional thing and very hard hitting, but I'm going to put it out bluntly. If your girl wakes up in the morning and you hear her, that's a reason to just, I'm going to sound dramatic, but get down on your knees and thank God, because a lot of the time you'll put your girl to bed and she may not wake up. I mean, that is the honest, raw honesty of it. And it's a totally different world. I will say that. And people, and a lot of the time, the thing with it is you do deal with people who are intimidated by you, intimidated by your family, intimidated by your child. And I've always asked why. She's a human being just like everyone else. She has feelings. She has an amazing personality. She's extremely intelligent. The specialist said her intelligence cannot be measured. She's very smart. She's a lot of fun. She enjoys doing the same things we do. She loves getting out. She loves going to the ocean. She loves nature. She loves fishing. We've taken her fishing. And she loves to be in the kitchen. She loves to help bake. She wants to be a part of this world just like everybody else does. So I've had friends who have actually walked away. I don't see them anymore. I've had family that doesn't even contact me. It's a different world. You have to learn how to accept it, and just know that, like I said, as painful as it is, the ones that no longer, that just seem to disappear, like I said to you the other day, Tom, on the phone, I said it's like they just disappear. They're meant to. They're meant to disappear from your life, because I think it's like, say, God's way, a higher power's way of showing you that, no, this isn't right for you. And it's not just people, it's places and things I've noticed that I've lost in my life that I was very upset about, but then later on realized, wow, that was a blessing in disguise.
Wow. You're learning a lot. It's amazing.
Go ahead, Rebecca. I'm a little emotional. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great story, and I love that. I mean, more people that are around people that, are different, or you could call them handicapped, I guess, but they're, like you say, everybody's a human being, and the way you describe what a wonderful experience it is to have a daughter like that, and how you've turned what some people would see as a negative into a tremendous positive is very, very enlightening. Very enlightening.
Yes, it's not just Victoria. Her older sister is amazing too, because a lot of times the siblings of any child that has any condition, per se, not just Rett syndrome, but they feel left out. They feel like, okay, I'm tossed to the side now. She has to have her sister was never like that. Savannah's been, she's a godsend. I will say that. She went, and what she decided to do when she was in high school and graduating was she took courses to be a CNA and a CRMA. And she went and worked in nursing facilities and such, took care of people, got very close to some. She's a very, how could I put it? I think my godmother used to call her, well, she used to say she was an old soul or kindred spirit or something. She had a name for her. And the level of compassion that she has outweighs. I mean, you look at, she's 25 years old, and most girls her age, all they care about right now is getting their nails done, hair done, makeup, but just the stuff, partying and all that. Well, she had taken care of chickens and coming and taking care of her sister, and all through school, she used to help. She would help. She'd see me exhausted, beyond getting to the point of being burnt out, exhausted. No, Mom, go sit on the couch, get a cup of tea, sit on the couch. She'd go in and get her sister dressed, for bed. Or she'd go in and give her sister her nutritional supplement drink. Or she'd go give her medication because, of course, she's certified, she can do that. And she'd be like, Mom, just, you need to sit. And she would actually get stern with me because I'm stubborn. I'm like my mother, my mother was very stubborn. And she would, no, Mom, you need to sit down. So, she's got a sister who decided to go in the medical field because she said it was her sister that inspired her to do so. She also worked at a local lab. She worked at the Jackson lab, and she really wanted to get up into the Rett syndrome area of that. And unfortunately, things didn't work out in that area. So what she decided to do is she decided to get a simple job. I mean, I wouldn't just say simple job. She's working. She's got a job, and she's homesteading. So, she's living the dream right now, and I'm really, really proud of her.
All I can, Rebecca and I talk about destiny a lot of times, and your life path and your plan. And this is Rosemary. I know you have this love of writing, and not only a love of it. I've read some of your things. I mean, you come alive, but you have a gift, and we're hearing it today, and your ability to communicate and express yourself. I mean, but this, how can you listen to this story and not think that this was all of your destiny, for all of the characters in your family to come together and create this great aura, this great this vibration, almost a vortex of support and love. And no matter what adversities you guys get thrown at you, you come back, and everybody, with all of the dissension and anger and hate that we're seeing now in division, this is a priceless story. I mean, I think we should nominate you for sainthood. I mean, I'm not saying that in a light way.
No, not at all. I wouldn't go that far.
I'm not talking piety. I'm talking in terms of this is a rare story. Rebecca, I'll turn that one over to you. What do you think?
No, it is. And I was thinking the same thing when you were describing your other daughter and how you all have come together. It's almost like it was done by design. Like God had a plan for all of you to give you this amazing gift of learning compassion and giving and acceptance. And it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful story.
It is, and then there's even more. I mean, I'm not going to leave my husband out of this at all. And he's been. I'll be honest. I'm gonna like. Another thing, Tom, that you don't know is my filter. I'm not saying it in a bad way, but my filter, the filter I had. I remember when we used to be on the radio. I was very awkward. I think I kind of held a lot back, and I have to say that my husband's been through a lot. A lot of people have downed him. They've bashed him. They used to make fun of the way because he was a lobster fisherman for many years. He had his own boat. In fact, I fell in love with that. He took me out for an entire season, and I fell in love with being out on the ocean and doing that. And here he had his own boat and his own, captain's license, the whole 9 yards. And we got married. I'm trying to think if he's still, I think a little after we got married, his father had sold the boat, but he still had his captain's license. And I told him, I said, look, I want you to keep that. I know how much it means to you. He grew up, from the time when his father would put him on a crate to be able to see up out the window, and he'd hold on to the steering wheel. That's how long he's been on the water, since he was just even a baby. He's been out there all his life. And so he, I remember telling him, look, you could do this. And he was more worried, on the financial aspect of it, of getting his license again. And he said, no, I'm not. He said, because Victoria needs me. And I said, well, I understand that, but I said, I know how much you want to be out there. And he said, no, you're more, my family's more important. My Victoria's more important. Because at the time, I had been lifting Victoria a lot. Well, my back was pretty close to gone at the time, because I had 2 discs in the lower part of my back because of lifting her up and down the stairs that were ready to give in on me. And he said, no. He goes, I need to step in. He said, we need to work together for her. We need to take care of her. And it's been that way. It's been, and he has worked. Last year he did, he worked for a time, and he's worked other jobs, and on top of getting up even in the middle of the night to help take care of her. So I've heard.
Rosemary, I hate to interrupt, but could you explain that Rosemary's not? Victoria is not his child. No. It's a stepchild. He's stepfather. Yeah. She was born 2002, and he and I got together. Oh, let's see. Well, Savannah was 10, and she's 25 now, so do the math. We got together. She was still. I don't think she was even in school yet. I think she was just getting ready to go into school, and we were together 4 years before we got married. And and that's the thing. I remember I was a single mom for quite a while, and I remember going down to my father's stone. I'd go down to my father's stone, and I would say, hey, Dad, I'm lonely, but I know you'd like for me to be with someone that you'd agree with, So I put that out there one day, and it wasn't maybe 3 weeks later that he had popped up on me, and I already known him from my early 20s. He was kind of an acquaintance when I had lived in a town called Winter Harbor, and he had known me. He's like, we both said, well, you look familiar. He sent me the message on what used to be MySpace. I remember that. And he told me I had beautiful eyes and everything else, the whole thing. And we started chatting. And then I said, well, yeah, I know you. I know who you are. So he came by with his daughter, who's now my stepdaughter, and we clicked. We started to date, and now, here we are. We're married since 2009, and we're on the 22nd of November, it'll be 11 years that we're married. So, we've had our ups and downs. We've had our times where it's been very close, where we've almost given up, but we didn't. And, we have our days, but who doesn't? And but we're still going strong. And as a matter of fact, after close to a year, we're finally going to get out and have some respite. We're actually going to get out and have our date night and our time to get out, because her sister will be coming here to take care of her, and we're going to actually have a little bit of breathing room and time to have some fun. But it's been close to a year. We usually get a break once a year, maybe. Well, and
usually,
as Rebecca said, and I feel that there's some kind of divine plan for you guys, and to think that how many guys would have never entertained, one time they might have taken one look at Victoria and said, I can't do this. And so you attracted this amazing human that saw and wanted the whole package.
That's right. And he said, because what he told me was, he said, I did not just see you, because I had, 2 girls. So he has 3 children of his own from a previous marriage. And they're now, my stepkids, and I love them very much. And I told him, I remember we got together and things got serious and we were getting married. I said, look, you call me what you're comfortable calling me. Don't feel that you have to call me stepmom or mom. Call me Rosie if you want. Call me whatever you want to call me. And a lot of the times, they'll say stepmommy, or one of them will be like, hey, ma, whatever. But I love them the same way as I would love Savannah and Victoria, and care for them the same way, even though they're not mine, they're not my children, but I love them very much. And I've had that. They've come to me and talked to me and said, you want to talk to me? I'm here. There's always a chair. There's always a place for you. So, that was another thing, is we both accepted each other's children. And when he said, because I told him, I said, I went to talk to my father, I went and prayed with my father. Because I was meeting people, and they were turning right around and running because they saw Victoria. And, excuse me, men is what I meant per se. And, when he came into my life, I thought, I didn't know what to expect, but he got to know Victoria, and I noticed that he was making a connection with her. I noticed that he was starting to get used to her. And then before I knew it, he was starting to pick her up and carry her around. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is something that I didn't expect. Excuse me. And so he said, well, I accepted the whole package. It wasn't just you. He said, I couldn't just show my attention to you. So, and my daughter, my older daughter, Savannah, I can remember how excited she was. She's like, I have a dad, because I was mom and dad for so long, I had to kind of keep the balance, on both ends there, trying to keep, not just be mom, but have that, that sternness, that firmness. And now she had that. And I remember there was one time that he was really firm with her, and she come to me and she says, Mom, she goes, I'm really mad. I said, well, he got on my case. And then I said, what did you pray for and ask for the longest time? She goes, well, I wanted to have, a dad. And I said, well, you have it. I said, and this is what comes with it. I said, you have to accept it. And she said, yeah, I guess you're right. And she just accepted it. And then from then on, she didn't complain. So,
great story.
Ladies, we're coming down to the last 90 seconds here. When I talked to Rebecca, I went through a long period of doing spiritual healing through this energy healing. And when I used to take my daughters to it, one of them said, Dad, that stuff is like taking a shower on the inside. And I got to tell you, after this whole positive, blessed podcast, that's the only way I can describe how I feel right now. It was like taking a shower on the inside from all of the crazy stuff that's going on there right now. To hear this beautiful story of love and positive direction, all of the tools that it takes to be an enlightened person, letting go, keeping the right company. Rebecca, help me out here. Why don't you give your take?
But it's a beautiful story, and it's so uplifting. And I hope it reaches some people out there in Blog Talk Radio land, because I think it's going to uplift a lot of people to hear what an amazing journey your life has been and how you've turned it around so beautifully. And I think you've got an amazing future in store for you with all the great things that are coming up. And this is the Great Awakening, and you're certainly living it. You're a big part of it. You're an example of what it means to be an awakened being. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you. And there's one thing I know we're getting down the time. I remember. Is that like I said, I do the meditation. I do it with it's on YouTube. Kenneth Soares is his name. I'm pretty sure that's how you say his name. And one thing he says to just about everyone is that you are enough. And that's something that I even have to remind myself every day, because there's times where I'm like, I want to go, push myself, push. And then I remind, wait, I'm enough because of what I'm doing. And I even said that on the phone with Tom the other day, was that if someone is getting ready to drag themselves, across the floor, they've just had it. If they get up in the morning and get out of bed, they've taken the biggest step, because they're already on their way. They should just keep moving forward, keep walking, keep going. And, because like Tom said, I've had some major adversities hit me very hard in life, and I've gotten past that. And anybody, I remember telling some people that say they don't get along with their parents. I had a very traumatic relationship with my father for years, and we got over that. I say, if I could get over that with my father, anybody could get over it and get along with their parents, not just parents, anybody. So it's trying to get past that wall. And that's the wall you build yourself. Nobody else builds it for you. And you have to get past it. You got to get over it, or you got to bust through it, either one, or take the time to chip away at it. But you can get through it.
Mm.
Wow.
Good advice.
That's all I can say. Go ahead, Rebecca.
No, you're a very powerful woman. You've got some amazing messages for people. That's a good one too. Yeah. Forgiveness. Learn to forgive.
I'm hoping we can do more of these. They're just fabulous.
I hope so too. I was hoping you'd say that, Tom. That'd be great.
Well, we're going to do our best to share this. Rebecca has a nice following. I'm sure that the light workers would love to share this with you, Rebecca. And I know I'll put it out my networks. It's a shower on each side that you can hear this loving. I'm getting emotional here. This loving story, and it's a message that everybody's got to hear right now.
Thank you.
Well, I hope it can get through, because, yeah.
All right. Hey, thank you so much. Then I actually forgot that the name of my whole program is Upbeat, and
that's right.
I'm just getting back into doing this, and you've given me the energy. I've got another one coming up on Saturday that I'm really looking forward to, and this is what Rebecca and I have been hoping to do, is to keep preaching, keep sending the light out there, keep showing people that there's hope, that we can, when this first happened, I said to Rebecca, I said, this is the great divide. I said, this is the dark night of the soul. This is the all is lost moment, when everybody has to put it all together and try to create new selves like you did. And by creating individual selves that are new and upbeat and going forward, we're going to have the opportunity to create a whole new world.
Yeah. Before we hang up, I just wanted to put out there, like I said, the biggest thing that ever happened in my life in the past. The club that I'm in is called the Red Knights Motorcycle Club. We're at Chapter 3 in Maine, and our main focus is Make-A-Wish, and we have granted many wishes in the past few years. There's been a lot of very happy children and families that, in fact, we just granted another one. So just wanted to put that out there. And there's many chapters all over the world doing different things. So, yeah.
All right. Till the next time. Rebecca, any last words?
No, I just want to say thank you. And my expression is, if you want to see perfection, change your perception. And you do that beautifully.
Well, thank you. I also believe there's no such thing as perfect, but because there's always going to be those little rough edges that we have to get around and smooth out. So
Well,
always going to be that little rough
I love
edge.
Rebecca's mantra. It's what is it, Rebecca? It's an inside.
Oh, it's an inside job. It's always an inside job.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Thank you. Fun.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tom.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Just check out. This will be posted on Blogtalk and on Facebook, and hope you get a chance to listen to an amazing story. Thanks, ladies.